Hey, this is Professor Homa. Welcome to EX6 Nav buttons, and I'm going to go through right from the beginning after you launch CyberDuck. So I just launched CyberDuck here. I'm going to launch into my directory here in my bookmarks, which you should do. This is mine for sample. So I'm going to double click on here and log in with my password. Okay, once I log in, I should see my directory, and there it is. And I will put an EX6 folder in your directory. So you're going to copy that down so you could work on it locally. So once you get into your directory, take that EX6 and copy it down to your local directory. Here's mine down here. I'm just going to copy it in there, and it should download it. You should see a transfer, and if it asks you for another password, you can put it in again. Mine seems to ask me both times. So now I'm copying that down, and what's going to be inside that folder is going to be an index file and a CSS file. It's going to be started for you, so you're not going to have as much work to do on this one. So that's it. I can disconnect from CyberDuck now that I downloaded my file from the server. So I'm going to quit out of CyberDuck, and I shouldn't have to do anything there. There's my stuff, so I'm good there. I'm going to go to brackets, and if you haven't done this yet, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Open Folder, and this is again kind of like Dreamweaver where you go to define a site, except we're just going to work in that particular folder. Now we don't even have any images. We're just going to open up the EX6 folder that you download, and you're going to only have a CSS and an index. And if you click on the index, you'll see that it's already done for you. Even this part is done. I even put this in, so it's already linked. So it already has the link to the ex6.css. So everything's done for you here, but you do want your HTML file so you can look at it and you can see that there's an ID for nav top, an ID for nav left, an ID for divider, and that's pretty much all that you need in here. If you looked at it right now, if you did a little preview of it, which I'll do up here in brackets, and I'll preview it so it opens up in my little Chrome preview here. And this is what it looks like so far. This is what your file will start with. Basically just some links that are started in here. And actually the bullets aren't showing. The bullets that we're moving here aren't showing because we have all the margin removed. So they're kind of off the page. That's why you're not even seeing the bullets there. They're linked. There's already links in there, but the bullets aren't showing up because we have our margin set. Because there is some of the CSS working. So let me jump to the CSS. And here it is. And this part, if I took this out, just to show you, I'm just going to cut this out, just to show you, this is what it would look like without this, without this blue stuff here. But if I click on this, this is what it would look like without the margin. But I'm going to put the margin back in there, and I already put it there for you. So if you're wondering why do I have to take away the bullets, they are there. They're just not showing on the page. The P divider here, you don't have to worry about that either. There's an ID of divider. I already put the margin of 2M on the top and bottom. Remember, this is right and left. This is top and bottom. If you look at your page here, that's creating that division here. And let me click off of here so you don't see that. And this is the divider right here. So that's just that there's kind of some margin above and margin below. That's what this 2M does, which is about 32 pixels on each side it should be about. So that's set up for you already. I'm going to leave this nav A for last, and I'm going to jump right into my top navigation, which is this part here. I'm just going to work on this part here. Remember, it's going to go across, it's going to look blue, and I'll just use some teal color, so just like you saw on the overview. So I'm going to start off with that, and I don't care what blue you use, just use something similar. So the first thing here, and I put some hints here so you could just kind of jump right in and do your CSS. It says nav top. This is the whole nav section. So I'm going to put a background color in here. I'm just going to tab over, and I'm just going to put background color. And I won't type everything out, but I'll just get it started here. I'll put in background color, and I'll put in my £, and sometimes I'll just put FFF, and then I'll right click and do quick edit. And I'm just going to look for kind of a tealy kind of color, and maybe something like that, and that looks okay. And I'll hit X, and I'll put my semicolon. And I could go here to see if anything looks different. And there it is. There's my background color. And that's all I need there. And then for my nav top, it says remove bullet and add padding above and below the list. So we know how to do that. Okay, so I just put that in. List style none. Padding, I put 24 above and below. And I put text align center. And what that did was do this. There's the padding above and below. There's the align center. Now right now these are still kind of stacked in blocks as a list, and we're going to have to change that, but it did take away bullets. So the next step is force them to display in one line. So that's going to be the one that you do display inline. So I'm going to put display inline. And what that should do, if I go here, it should put it on one line. And you have to spell display right. So make sure you spell it right. Now it's going on one line. So I'm almost there for the top part. That's all I have to do, I think, for that. It just says force list items to display in one line. So I put some hints here so you know what to do. So, and now this is where we're going to put a lot of stuff here. So this is where we're going to set the padding, background color, width, display, and the margin. And I'll just kind of do one thing at a time here. Okay, I put my padding in here. That should be the padding within the button, although I'm not going to see anything yet until I actually put my background color in. So I'm just going to put my pound sign and just put an FFF. And I'll edit that, and when I go to quick edit I'll see my other color, and what I want to do is actually do a darker color for my for the background so it shows up a little bit better on there. So I'm gonna select this first, and then I'm just gonna move it a little bit darker, and then I'll select that, and that's all I'll do to just select a darker one. So I'm just kind of moving down in my color area there, and what it should look like is here. And now what we're going to have to do is put some margin on either side of this so that these are spread out a little bit, and then we're also going to give them the same width. So that's what we're going to do next. Okay, I put a width of 120 pixels, and I put a margin of 6 pixels and 12 pixels. This is the important one. The other one you're not really going to notice until you resize the window. So, but you can put that in now if you want. So let's see what this looks like. And notice I put the width in. It didn't do anything yet. And the reason it didn't, if you remember from the overview, that I actually have to put in something called display inline block. So before width, I'm just going to put this here. I'm going to put a display. And here's inline block. It's right here. And what that should do, it should then take the width of that. So now it does, and there's my 12 pixels on either side. And remember, this is doubled in the middle, so there's 12 on either side, so there's like 24 in the middle. So now you can see these are even sizing because of the inline block. Now don't worry about the color yet. We're going to do that for all the links at one time. But this is our padding inside here. We have our margin outside of here. And notice that the whole thing acts like a link. That's what we want. That's why we're doing all of this, inside these links here for the nav, the A link and the A visited, because we're not going to have any visited color for these buttons. And let's just check, see what else we have here. Padding, background color, width, display, and we have the margin. So we have everything done here. And if I want, maybe I'll go up and I'll do this now. I'm going to set up basically the color. So the color is going to be white. That should be easy enough. I'll just put in my FFF. And you can see when I do that, now it should be white. Remember how to remove the underline. Remember that's the text decoration. And that's just none. So that should remove the underline when I go there. And there's my, and notice this is the reason I kind of did this. These things aren't showing up at all because these are becoming white now too, so they're hard to see. So that's why I kind of said do that for last. But anyway, we also want to change the font and make it a little bit bigger because right now it's just in a Times font. So let me change that too. I'm going to just change the font, the Calibri, Arial, and sans serif. You could throw something else in there if you want, but I gave it basically 1, 2, 3 choices. Sans serif being the default. And then font size 1.2, which is like 120%. It's a little bit bigger than normal size, just so they show up a little bit better. And let's see what it looks like so far. That's our top nav so far. So the only thing we need here with our top nav is just kind of a hover. And that's easy enough. Let's see where our hover is. That's down here. We didn't do this yet. And I'm just going to go after the little comment here and just put in a color. Or actually, it's a background color. So let me put that in. Background color. And if you're not sure what background color, just put in any color. I always put in FFF. And I'll do a quick edit. Now, I actually want it to be you could make it a light color. I wanted a darker color than this. So I'm going to select this one and then go even darker. And then I'll just close this up. And then it should use that dark color for my hover. So if I go over here and do my hover, now you can see. So it's this one a little darker, and then it's a little darker when you hover over it. And I'm going darker because I have white type, so I don't want it to be too light. I want to be able to see it easier. Matter of fact, it'd almost be nicer if you had it darker and then it would change this lighter color. So whatever you want. You could mess around with the colors a little bit if you want. But that's pretty much the top nav. So we did the hover, we have the padding going around, we have margin, we have padding on the top and bottom. I think it's padding, or is it margin? Let's double check here. Yeah, padding on the top and bottom. So we have everything done with our top nav. Now, obviously, we don't have links linking to anything, but that's pretty much it. The next part we're going to do is the buttons on the left side.